Right. Gina, good morning.
Hi.
I'd like to thank our hosts and brand innovators for having us here today. And we get to talk about brand values, which for NPR is kind of the sweet spot. And I understand for you all as well. And we spoke yesterday. I'll dive right in if you don't mind. The 4 core values for Danone really jumped out at me. The acronym is HOPE, and it's humanism, openness, proximity, and enthusiasm. And I promise not to go through every one letter by letter, but I did want to start with humanism. It can be kind of broad, but when we talked, you were able to drill down on what it really means for you all. So if you could do that, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I love about our values is that they resonate as much internally as they do externally. Can you guys hear me okay? I keep hearing feedback. Right. They resonate internally as much as they do externally. So internally, when we think about our values and we think about that acronym HOPE, it's how we live every day as Danoners. It's how we treat each other. It's the behaviors that we enact upon every single day. And what I love about that is that those values don't only exist within the organization, they exist outside of the organization in terms of how we connect with our consumers. So if I think about, humanism, to take one of the values, the way I'd say it, because I like plain speak, the way I talk about it is it's about mattering. And when you think about the human condition and what people care about, everyone wants to feel like they matter. And so when you can put that at the forefront, I think it informs not only how we treat each other, but how we go out into the world and present ourselves as Danone, in addition to all of the brands that we serve. So, one of the things that we say is, we talk a lot about consumer insights. We talk a lot about consumer research and consumer data and how we can meet the needs of our consumers. And if you put it through a lens of being human or humanism, you can think about the way that we service our consumers on 2 levels. One of those is, the functional benefits that we serve, right? Like we make products that have a positive outcome on people's health and wellness. And one of the brands I'll use as an example is one of our brands called Too Good, which I love, and it's an amazing yogurt. But one of the things that it does, it's a lower sugar proposition, and so it's tasty and it's wholesome and it's got non-GMO milk and all those great things. But at the end of the day, it's about lower sugar. The reason why that matters to people on a functional level is because we know that sugar is one of the major aggressors on people's overall health and wellness. And the more you can reduce the amount of sugar in your overall diet, the better the health outcome, right? So it's a very functional benefit. I love it because it's low sugar, and that's why I buy it, because what it does for me inside. But one of the things we know about our Too Good consumer is as much as they care about what you can do for them, they care about what you and they can do for others, right? So that's a big part of kind of what they care about and what matters to them. So for a brand like Too Good, we're able to double down on both of those things, which I think is pretty special. So we give them what they need and what they want for their health and wellness, but then we also do things that matter in the world. So one of the things that we talk about at Too Good is we fight hunger through the reduction of food waste, right? It's a really important topic. It's something that people care about, and it's something that we can actually do something about. We talk a lot about food insecurity, and when you look at the world, I think it's something like 1 in 8 people face food insecurity. And you kind of couple that with the notion, or the fact rather, that 40% of all of our food supply in America goes to waste. 40%, almost half of our food supply goes to waste, right? So you put those 2 things together and the math just doesn't really add up. So you feel like, okay, there's got to be something we can do. So if we can tackle reducing food waste a little bit at a time, what we end up doing is really fighting the hunger problem that we face in America. So Too Good acts on both levels. So you get back to that idea of humanism. I know this is a really long-winded answer to your question, but you get back to that idea of humanism, and you're really able to tackle it on that kind of dual level of what you give to people in terms of what they need functionally, but then you also are able to connect and resonate in a way that makes sense emotionally for them as well. I have a video on Too Good because it's just a really special brand in our portfolio. I don't know if it'll play. Let's see if it does. It plays. If not, then we will play it maybe at the break.
Where is the video on the website?
Yep, that's it.
A third of the edible produce that's going to waste at farm level is being churned back under into the ground and being wasted. We've recently found that food waste is the #1 contributor to climate change. Basically, that means that this is an urgent and necessary problem to solve.
One of the most important factors is the utilization, we call it. Probably an average would be somewhere in the 75 to 80% of the fruit is actually utilized to where it goes into the marketplace for consumers to take. But that other 20%, that's just loss.
At Too Good, we're on a mission to reduce food waste. That's why we've partnered with Full Harvest to save Meyer lemons that would have otherwise gone to waste.
The mission of Full Harvest is to empower sustainability at the root level. We specifically focus on food loss at the farm level, where it is edible, but it is just not perfect for retailers, so it ends up being wasted. We've been collaborating with the Too Good brand, which is an amazing partnership of shared values.
By sourcing delicious Meyer lemons from California-based farms, Too Good's Good Save will help tackle food waste, 1 cup at a time.
The Too Good brand is passionate about making the world a better place, and so we're able to make an impact in the world together.
Less waste, more goodness. Too Good.
And it's really delicious.
That's great, and I think, Gina, what really resonates about the humanism part of it is you kind of zoom out and look at humanity, but then you drill down to specific issues with that overarching theme, and I think that's where it's super impactful. One of the other things that we talked about yesterday was trust, and that is a rare commodity these days. It's something that is super meaningful for NPR, trust, the authenticity, the engagement with our audience. And you spoke about that, and clearly it's resonant and important when it comes to health and nutrition and where that fits into your brand positioning as well. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, trust is the bedrock of everything that we do. You know, I was joking and I said, you know, one of the things that, you know, we think about when we, you know, think about all the products that we use day in and day out, of course we want to trust that they're going to do and deliver what we say they're going to do and deliver. But if my laundry detergent doesn't get my clothes as clean as I might like, I'm probably maybe annoyed, but I'm not sick. I'm not, you know, it doesn't impact how my body functions on a daily basis. It doesn't impact what I'm able to go out and do in the world, right? So I get upset. I trust it to do what it says it's going to do because I paid a lot of money and I want it to work. But when it comes to health and wellness and food and beverage, your health is on the line, right? So trust has to be the bedrock and the forefront of every single thing that we do and every time that somebody interacts with one of our products. Our reputation is on the line. Every time you open a Danone product, every time you twist a cap, peel a lid, scoop a spoon of yogurt, our reputation is on the line. And there's no getting around that because it does impact how you are able to interact in the world. So for us, trust is critical. It doesn't, we don't function if we don't have a brand that people can trust and respect and believe that it's going to do exactly what we say it's going to do. It's about positive outcomes, right? Like you can't have the risk of a negative outcome when it comes to health and wellness. And one of the things that I love about Danone that attracted me to the company when I started over a year ago was that we are a certified B Corp, which means we are held to a standard, the highest standards of environmental and social responsibility. So I think when you have associations and you have the credibility of being one of the largest B Corps in the world, it does start to garner and give people that sense of trust that they know that when they come to you, they know that every time they see that Danone logo, every time they see, you know, a Danone product and they interact with it, that it's going to yield a positive outcome. And so I think it's not understated that every day, every single person who works within the organization has that at the forefront of their mind.
Well, that does get to the E in hope, and that's the engagement part of it and the enthusiasm that the employees at Danone bring. How do you go about manifesting that in storytelling from inside the company. The Too Good story is a super powerful one, but clearly with the engagement and the enthusiasm of the members of the company, I wonder if there's other ways that you look for them to be brand ambassadors, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our mission is, you know, we bring health through food to as many people as possible. And you know, those words are very intentional, and it's how we live our everyday inside the organization, and it's the mission that we project to the world. And there has to be a passion and an enthusiasm. You can't work at a company like Danone and not believe that food has the ability to impact health outcomes in a positive way, and that every single person on this planet deserves that. And so there's something about that mission that whether you walk into the doors every day, whether you log on to your, you know, Microsoft Teams meetings every day, there's something about that that I think is in the forefront of everyone's mind within our company that impacts how we behave. It impacts how we treat each other. It impacts how we show up to our consumers. And I think consumers feel the passion in our brands. Too Good is one great example. We have tons of brands in our portfolio. When you look at our plant-based portfolio and, you know, silk products and the things that we're doing to really move people into a different way of taking care of their health. Plant-based is huge. And we're right in there, and we're connecting with consumers in a way that just gives them different options, right? So we've got a huge dairy portfolio, we've got a huge plant-based portfolio, but I think when you have a mission of delivering health through food to as many people as possible, you have to do it from a number of different levers. And I think there's a lot of passion and enthusiasm that comes with all of that. And it comes through in the storytelling. Someone was talking about storytelling earlier, and I think it does come in a way that connects with people in a way that goes back to that word I love, which is mattering.
Absolutely, and your authentic enthusiasm comes through loud and clear too, and it's wonderful. And I think that may come as a surprise to some people. You know, there's the product we see on the store shelves, and then there's what brings it to the store shelves and the enthusiasm that the team members, the employees of the company bring, and that matters a ton. And the relationship that folks have with different brands, given the myriad choices that are out there. One of the other things I wanted to touch on, and it's something that we spoke about yesterday as well, is inclusive diversity that you all mentioned. And DEI can be defined in a number of different ways. With us, it's defined by different voices that we hear through hosts, different subject matter that you hear in certain programs, and in some cases even specific shows. How does that matter at Danone? How do you go about making sure inclusive diversity is part of the company culture?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when I think about it, like you said, there's a million different definitions. You know, pick a person and they'll talk about it differently. The way I think about diversity and inclusion is diversity is how it looks and inclusivity is how it feels. And I think both of those things are extremely important. And at Danone, we make sure that that runs through the veins of our people, that it runs through our hallways, and that is at the cornerstone of everything we do, from every aspect of our organization. You know, I was joking with somebody the other day, we were talking about marketing planning, and, you know, oh, people don't really, you know, people always think about diversity and inclusion. Oh yeah, let me tack that onto my marketing plan. And I said to someone, I said, well, if diversity and inclusion or inclusive diversity isn't at the center of your marketing plan, then you don't have a marketing plan, do you? Right? Like it's just unheard of that we would kind of think about it in that kind of way as this other thing, this box that we have to tick. So when we think about it internally at Danone, we have to think about it as embedded in everything that we do. And I think that shows up in the way that we present ourselves to consumers. You know, again, back to that mission of, you know, bringing food through health to as many people as possible. We really mean as many people as possible, not food for this group over here, food for these folks down here or over there or up there. It's food for everyone, as many people as possible. So there's no way that we could have any marketing strategy, any sales strategy, any go-to-market way that we think about our products, from manufacturing and innovation, without taking the full population and all of the groups and all of the segments that make that up into consideration.
It's a heck of a story, and when you get back to, when you pull the lens back on inclusive diversity, it does get back to the somewhat conflicting statistics on food insecurity and food waste as well, and it seems like they can all be interwoven as part of the company culture. But in the little bit of time we have left, I think it'd be great to take questions from the floor.
feel like, excuse me, Silk kind of introduced me and my family to non-dairy products generally. But since we were introduced to it, there's been just an explosion of other types of products that in our household have kind of edged Silk out. How are you guys handling the explosion of competitors in the space, and what's the play to if it's necessary to kind of retake the lead?
Yeah, absolutely, great question. I mean, the pressure in the plant-based space, which is growing tremendously, is immense. There's no getting around the fact that, you know, there are people who are coming after us every single day, and the competition is fierce. I think it goes back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of creating ways to matter to people, right? Because you could say almond milk is almond milk, like who cares, right? Like it works, you know. Put some beverage in my cereal, you know, I can have a glass, I can use it in a smoothie. What's really the difference? And, you know, one of the things, you know, because I work in, you know, the brand and marketing world, is that I do fundamentally believe that people buy products, but people relate and connect to brands. Right? There is an association, an affinity, a way that a brand makes you feel. We talk about Silk being, you know, the real deal, the OG of, you know, the plant-based world. Like, we were plant-based before plant-based was even a thing. Nobody was even talking about it. And here we were, you know, decades ago, you know, introducing this new space for people, again, to create that sense of the ability to have different ways to take care of your health and wellness, right? So no one can say that. So anybody can come out now and just kind of make claims and say, hey, we're the next, you know, new kid on the block. But there is something, I think, that is valuable and authentic about being the OG, being the original, and the one that kind of brought this space to the masses. And I think there's credibility and value in that. And I think if we can tell that story in a way that connects with people credibly and authentically, it starts to create a differentiator in people's minds.
So I'm coming back because of that. How are you telling that story? Sorry for the second question.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, that's part of our comm strategy, our media strategy. You know, our work is out there. Social media is huge, so we're making sure that we're investing where people are. You know, I think gone are the days where you can just put a TV out on TV and expect everybody to listen. But, you know, we talk about influencers and the rise of social media and being able to get our message to where people are. And so I think it's just making sure that we continue that effort, and we do it in a way that's consistent and that's meaningful and resonant. But I think the storytelling is going to be critical as a differentiator.
And connecting with the right audiences.
Absolutely. But thank you for Silk.
I think we have time for one more question.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.